then I think that the places and ways in which an organisation can interact with its customers has always been growing. So face to face, then we had call centre, and then we had email and paper and documents. And social to me is partly an additive view on that. Actually, there's lots of ways to interact, and I think therefore it dovetails with CRM in the sense that it is a place where customers are. Therefore, you need to engage with them. I think the other interesting angle is it said that you can learn something different from a set of social communications than you can from a phone call or from an email or other things, because you can start to get an understanding of how people are connected and the places in which they interact that are beyond your own organisation. So suddenly you've got visibility of a customer or something about them outside of your own view of the customer. Therefore you can augment your view of the customer with what the social web is saying. So I think firstly it's a channel, and it should be treated as a way of communicating, listening and speaking. I think secondly it gives you a different perspective on a customer or a network of customers. And I think the other thing is it is a place that has focused a microscope onto your true CRM practice. I think the idea that people will tweet or blog or write about or share or Facebook comment about what you do just gives that more intense focus, more public focus on how well you actually perform what I'd call your basic CRM function, which is how well you set an expectation with the customer, attract them to the proposition, and deliver the promises that you've made at a price and a value that they want to exchange. And I think if you are doing that well, then social media becomes an asset. If you're doing it badly, social media becomes a place where you need to find out pretty swiftly what it is you're failing to do, and then correct that within your own organisation. So I think it intersects in a number of ways. I think you can almost ask the question, who should take ownership of the customer? Because clearly, actually everybody deals with the customer in terms of, even if it's marketing, sales, service and engineering stroke product, however you want to put that, ultimately they're all dealing with the customer. So I think you can't put social contacts saying, well actually it's just this department or that department. I think there are key initiatives that departments can sponsor and can maintain, but it needs to be done in a collaborative way. So if marketing are running a kind of voice of the customer, listening, interacting with people on fan pages and Twitter handles, but not communicating that A, they're doing it, and B, what is being said with the customer service people, then you just creating the silos. Customer service people need to be as engaged, and often the customer service people may provide that three-way dialogue around your product, so that they may know what the problems of your product are because everyone's phoning them with them. So to keep them out of the loop, I think is the wrong approach. I think you need to look at how you collaborate internally and how your social presence externally and internally starts to join together. And I think ultimately you've got to look at saying customer ownership is at the CEO level, and everybody has a place to play it. And interaction with customers, what we learn from them, what we say to them, is a corporate level activity. Now, yes, there are initiatives within that you can take responsibility for, but communication and collaboration across those different previous silos is quite important. I don't think so, because I think it is, by its nature, there's a lot of unstructured information in there that you actually need to get people involved to actually, the technology is providing mechanisms, but they're not new things. The fact that you talk to your customers and they talk to you is not a new concept. It just happens much more easily through the technology. But the moment you try and say, well, technology can do it for me, I think you're removing a people element. And I think that people element, that it is about engaging in a conversation rather than sitting back and saying, I'm going to work my strategy out. The strategy needs to be engage with the customers, to listen, and then you can then work out how you respond and monitor that conversation on an ongoing basis. So I think, is it going to be technology? I think technology is an enabler, and I think we're a bit wiser about that this time. That anybody can connect to Twitter and Facebook without needing to spend a lot on a vendor's platform. I think the moment you try and pretend you can read that in a way that is automated, i.e. you can deduce what's happening, I think you need to be wise with regard to the unique nature of customer conversations and customers themselves, and you've got to look at very micro segmentation and micro response there. So I think there'll be a lot of technology around it. I think the actual approach will be more strategic, because I think it's being led more from people who want to engage with the customers, of which technology is an enabler. So I'm hoping it'll be better this time around. I think Bruce was talking about it earlier. Customers are much more interested in you facilitating their buying than them being sold to. And the moment you think you're selling to them again, you're going down the company-only perspective, whereas I think that when you're facilitating buying and when you're doing service in that context, then I think you're looking at more of the customer's perspective, and hopefully that's what we'll see changing. It is another level, and I think it'll be interesting to see how the buy-in comes in. And I think if social is thought of as I've got a Twitter feed or I've got a Facebook page, then yes, there's business advantage that can come from those individual exercises, but actually treating yourself as understanding that you're a business that is there to do something the customer wants to give their time or money for, and how you run that conversation over time. I think that thinking, business leaders can get that more easily than they can get technology. I think there's this gap between what they'd like to do with the customer conversation and what you can do given the speed of change of most organisations. And it's not just the culture, but the systems as well. I think that what you'll find is there'll be iconic successes that will change the culture more rapidly. So if you think of the retailing market, you have to say that Amazon has proven something, and there's then lots of people who jump on a similar model, and everyone accepts it as a good model because somebody proved it was right, and therefore the culture of book buying, electronics buying has changed. And I think that level of culture shift can come through some key successes, and I think there'll be key brands that get social, and therefore the competition will have to join in to catch up.